Hi, I'm Wendell. Welcome back to the WBL. Today is Sunday, February 5th, 2045, and we got something special for you today, don't we, Osik?
We sure do.
We got a special preview, 2044-2045 off-season, North League and South League. We're going to go team by team. We're going to tag team this thing up and talk to you about the teams in the North. What are they missing? What are the gaps? What are the problems they have? And what's out there possibly in free agency that can help them out.
Sounds good to me.
Osik, you wanna? By the way, Osik, who do you project to win the 2045 North League Championship? I'm putting you on the spot right now.
It's hard to bet against Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I know OU wants to just blow it up and see what he can do with it.
You think he's going to do it? You think he's really going to blow it up?
I could see him doing it.
No. He's got expansion. He's got the expansion. He's got the feeder leagues. I don't see
immersing him.
He's going to be immersed in feeder leagues. Yep, that's my prediction.
And then I would say, I guess Helsingborg for a couple more years, maybe have their windows their doors starting to close. But I could definitely see Helga.
You think so? You think that window is closing a little bit on them?
Well, they have a couple young guys, but the thing is, all those nice pieces are going to start getting expensive pretty soon.
Oh shit! I don't even want to know what you have to say about Moscow. So we're going to move right on to the South. What do you think? What's your prediction on the South?
I could see Buffalo didn't lose anybody in the offseason, and they're probably looking to gain a couple people. They've sort of got a bottleneck in there, so I could see them winning again. In the outfield is the only issue with them.
Right.
Cairo's always dangerous with that offense if they can get everything else down. And then false base, sort of the opposite, where they have that pitching. But they spent so much on Bug that you have to see if it's gonna hurt them with Stu leaving and that DH spot sort of being a hole.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I really expected them to get really hammered in the budget this year, but it doesn't seem to have happened. So
that's good for him.
I know, right? Good for him. Why don't you? Let's just go North League team by team. You want to get us started with Amsterdam? Do they have any? Do the Tulips have any holes at all on that team?
Well, when I did my position sort of by WAR and sort of saw what they were compared to the average, they have nothing that's less than the average. The only thing I didn't look at was bullpen, but with Colomo leaving and then they've got a couple older vets that were leaving their bullpen, they probably could upgrade that.
Okay.
So
a little bit of work in the bullpen?
Right, because Colomo had more wins than I think. He had 2.8 WAR, which is probably better than most people's starting pitching.
Oh, heck yeah.
So, I mean, that guy was a workhorse for him.
Good night. Do you think Colomo, has anybody ever tried him at starter?
Yeah. He started for me.
Yes.
And then it seemed like he started to deteriorate after so in the 2042, and then I traded him to Istanbul.
I'm looking at him right now. Yeah, I see the Istanbul. Yeah.
And he still had his good strikeouts and then Yankee was impatiently and traded him for a 5th rounder, and then he's been worth that probably like 10 times over for Amsterdam.
No kidding. Look at that. 0.88 whip, 0.84. So you think Amsterdam probably should be trying to replace a guy like this?
Or bring him back, but I guess depends if you want to pay that much money for a bullpen arm, which is sort of tough.
Yeah. 6.5 million. Ooh.
The other thing I sort of saw with them was left field. Let's see, who do they have in their left field? They had, from what I saw, they had Farid, which, let me see if they still have him in there.
Newman.
But what they could do is they could just move Chen over.
Well, why is Newman a problem in left field?
Well, this was just like picking straw, or like trying to find something.
Phew, man, I know, right? Golly.
So
Woo.
I was looking for stuff, and I found out that their left fielding was probably their weakest position in terms of the average, but they were still, let's see, it was that in first, but
wow.
First is, I think Sanchez is still pretty good. But left field, they're a half win above the average only. So
only a half win above average.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
cool.
Other than that, it looks like Rock Mobs is going to be taking over for Farius. So there was my only other idea, but Rock Mobster is looks pretty solid. So he'll make up for Farius. Let me see what was it. It was like, I think it was like 1
Rock
more.
Mobster. Cool.
Yeah. So basically, Amsterdam's pretty stacked. I guess what they could try to do is replenish some of that. I guess try to get as many prospects if they want to blow it up, or pick a couple people that they want to trade away.
Yeah, I mean, if they do blow it up, they're going to be so flooded with prospects that there'll be another, steamroller in 2 years. So, unless they blow everything up for Bug, because I think JD would really hold out for everything for Bug.
Right.
So, Bug Ruth. So, all right, well, let's move on. There's just not a whole lot to talk about with Amsterdam.
No. So
fuck Amsterdam. Sorry.
So you looked at Berlin?
Berlin. So Berlin's hard, man. It's a hard team to really get a handle on. There are a lot of pieces here, but they just I don't know, man. There's just not a whole lot of cohesion. Randy Hapgood to me is the $64 million question, because he's an outstanding. He's the ace of most rotations in the WBL, and does he bring that kind of value to Berlin? I don't know. I think that if I was in Berlin's shoes, I'd want to shop Hapgood around and see what kind of, just see what snuff he could bring in terms of future prospects.
Right, and I mean, if it's not something that looks like you want to give or get back in return, if the return's not great enough,
right,
you can always keep them, and I guess you don't want to lose him for nothing, but at least you're still getting some production out of him instead of just getting pennies on the dollar. True.
I totally agree. I think Berlin should be going after something like, I don't know, just bring in some pitchers to fill out the starting rotation. And people like, I'm a big fan of Sun Young Koo, who was a former Moscow pitcher. And I'm scrolling down looking for him here, but he doesn't have a whole lot of stars, but the guy he can throw all day. He's got great movement, and guys like that out of free agency, I think, would be a great pickup for Berlin. In Berlin's shoes, they got a lot of talent coming up in the system, and all you need to do is give them time to grow into that talent, right? Have some patience.
Right.
Right?
Sort of, it's one of those sort of financial terms. They've got a lot of future value, but the present value is not great. So they could maybe pick up a couple guys that might be good enough for the present, depending on budget, of course. But if you can pick up a couple guys that make sure that you don't end up having to bring up those guys too early, it can help you a lot in terms of that.
Well, you know what? Do you think bringing up guys too early, do you think that is a serious problem? Do you think OTP will kill a guy if you bring him up too early?
I don't know if it kills him, but I think it slows down progression enough where it almost stagnates him.
Oh.
So, I mean, maybe it doesn't hurt him. Like, Cab Fair on my team, I'm pretty sure he was always going to have close to that 70 contact or 75 contact. But, I mean, maybe it hurt him in some of the other directions or ratings.
Right. Well, let's move on to Dublin. What do you see in Dublin?
Mostly I saw that they had a weak second base. And let's see, what else do I have? Dublin's got a weak second base, a weak center field, but I think that's because, give me 1 sec, I have to get to them.
Well, while you're looking for that, they claimed Kyle Rigal on waivers from Amsterdam last April. And I remember the commissioner threatened to ban Dublin's GM for life, for claiming one of his players. But he really didn't, or maybe I was just wishing for that or something. But he really didn't. He had a negative WAR year, minus 1.4 WAR.
Right, and that's sort of what hurt him in that, because second base wasn't the highest of averages, but it was still pretty good defensive position, and it looks like he just didn't have a great offensive year. Like when your on base percentage is .264,
right?
It's sort of rough.
So you see that. What was his fielding, by the way? Let's see, career second base. Oh, he was a fantastic second baseman. 10.8 zone range, plus 10.8 Zoidberg.
Yeah, so that tells me that his offense looks just as worse for how good that defense was.
His defense was outstanding, and so his offense was really, really lousy.
Well, he struck out 100 times and he walked 22. So that's not the greatest of ratios. That's what it tells me, that his eye is probably worse than 45 in real life.
True. Very true. And he's not making that avoid K rating. He's not avoiding the Ks either. He's pretty lousy. Okay. So you look for Dublin. So what could Dublin do to improve that?
Well, they have a guy in the minors. Give me 1 sec. I got to get to their player list because that's the easiest way to do it. He's sort of older. His name is, for you, it is Zahir. Zahir. Badir Aldin Zahir.
Oh, 25 years old.
He only played a couple games. He had a cup of coffee last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, his minor league stats are pretty good.
This guy looks pretty solid.
Yeah, he's already at his. It seems like he's tapped out, so you might as well bring him up and see what he can do.
Sure, absolutely.
He's probably a better second baseman, but I mean, he can play probably all three positions once he plays them enough to upgrade those ratings.
Right.
So I mean, if you want to go in-house and not spend money, he's probably your best bet.
I'd be, given the paucity of outstanding middle infielders in this league, that's a solid bet. I'd love to give this guy a try.
Right.
Yeah.
I know he's sort of been talking about maybe. I think he was just saying it in jest, but he might be able to get a decent return for Skeeter Chong. I mean, it'd have to be somebody who doesn't like power, but there's always a market for a defensive shortstop that gets on base.
Absolutely.
380 or OBP of 380.
I totally think there'd be a bidding war for this guy.
Yeah.
I'd be leading the charge.
Yeah, you need some good old help in that department.
Oh, yeah. A little bit. What else did you see with Dublin?
A little bit of a bullpen, but let me just double check that, because I mean, his bullpen doesn't look bad. He doesn't really have anybody that's gonna strike everybody out, so he doesn't have that dominant guy who he can bring in. His closer looks pretty solid.
Van der Kugel.
Yeah, Manny Nunez looks like he's probably going to give up a decent amount of home runs just because of his 45. Although he's got a ground ball tendency, so
fascinating, and a good night, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, so he might be fine in the bullpen. His rotation might be a little tough too. Other guys, if he doesn't want to go in-house with Zahir, he could bring in Pauly, and Burns was my sleeper pick for anybody who needed middle infield help, and Istanbul scooped him up, so that's a nice pickup for Yankee.
Good deal.
You get and I think you were looking at Helsingborg, or good old Helga.
Good old
and what do you think Orlando needs?
Oh, man. Orlando, good night. What Orlando needs is to just swap with Real and go down and take Baton Rouge and let Real just cruise for the next 5 years with this incredible roster at Helsingborg. Helga's got the pitching. They got so much pitching, they're trying to give away pitching. Nobody wants him. They're number 6 guy in the rotation. I mean, he's an outstanding pitcher, and he's really better than his numbers show with. I think he's better than his numbers show with Helsingborg, because Helsingborg is a hitter's park. And when a pitcher does well at a hitter's park, he's going to do better at a neutral park. So I'm really surprised nobody has snapped up Nah. People are just not impressed by him, but he's the kind of guy I'd love to have on my team.
I do enjoy his movement stat, or his rating. His BABIP was really high, but I'm assuming that's because of the defense.
Well, that's a really weird metric, and I guess that's what has caused me some pause.
You need your luck dragons for your BABIP.
Yeah, well, that and I mean Helsingborg has a fantastic defense behind them. I mean they got Juan Padilla, who plays everything like an elite superstar on defense, whose bat has started to drop off a bit. If you can call a 263, 365, 419, 105 OPS plus year a drop-off, the guy still knocked 14 home runs. He doesn't have the power he used to have. He doesn't have quite the contact he used to have, but he's still outstanding middle infielder. And he's not the only middle infielder on Helsingborg's roster.
Sawyer's pretty solid.
John Sawyer, pretty damn solid. I mean, face it, Helga has got the middle infield I would like to have. And
right.
I don't know how you improve from that. There's Eglinton, who's a great home run hitter, 23-year-old kid, Grumbles.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's going to be giving him a shot.
Mm-hmm. He should have a shot. He should have the full-time job this coming year. And he's got that middle finger power distribution there. I think Grumbles is going to be another impact bat that Helsingborg likes to have. So I really don't see any drop-off in Helsingborg. They got the great rotation. They got good bullpen. I don't know. Maybe bullpen is somewhere you want to spend a little bit of time with Helsingborg.
I guess if you have money and you're looking to spend it, bullpen's never your first choice. It's never the sexy choice, but it can help. I mean, he might want to get in on Garnett just because.
Oh, he's going to get in on Garnett. I mean, who wouldn't, right?
Right.
Anybody that's got money is going to go after doggone it. That son of a bitch. That son of a bitch. Oh man. He had a player option this year for 11.5. How would you turn down 11? Osick, would you turn that if you had a player option for 11.5 million? Would you turn that down?
If I could ask for 14 million, yes.
I mean, you can ask all you want. I guess. Well, in this case, he's going to get it, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, where's your loyalty, man? Loyalty. Well, I tried actually to extend Garnett several times, but I had the budget crunch, and I could not get past it. OU very graciously stopped the sim in mid-arbitration and gave me one last shot to try to go for it, and I had enough budget to offer him what I was comfortable offering him, but I wasn't going to offer him $20 million a year.
Yeah, it's sort of tough. You're in an interesting position because you've got the pitching, so it's really hard not to turn away. It's really hard to turn away offense, but if it hurts the rest of your team by your budget, then it's sort of
screw them. I don't care about the rest of the team. All I care about is pitching.
They'll be burning Garnett jerseys in Moscow.
They're gonna be burning Wendell jerseys. What are you talking about? We're burning Wendell in Moscow. If my boss has anything to do with it, it will be. So,
you need a better PR department then.
I need a better PR department. No, I need a better general manager is what I need. So what do you see for what's ahead for the Ottoman this year?
Well, if he can get past his ADD and actually focus on just keeping the team as is, he really needs a first baseman.
Okay. Somebody who can play defensively or somebody who can hit for power?
Sort of both. I mean, Komatsu's not a terrible bat. He's just not a very good first baseman.
Komatsu? Wait a minute. Okay, he's listed as a left fielder.
Right,
Komatsu.
but he's had him as his first baseman. I had him as a first baseman, so that's one of those things where just looking at the free agent market, I mean, he doesn't obviously have to go exactly for fielding 100%, but knowing Yankee, he's going to want to have at least somebody who can hit the ball.
Do you think he's going to go after Garnett?
He could. I mean, I don't know what his finances are like. I mean, it really just depends on what the expansions do.
Right.
Because Juarez is a nice player, so his Fulton Juarez is in his left field. Right field is Jesse Haswell, which he's a power hitter as well. And then his center fielder is Sal, and he's like the third best. He's like one of the top 3 center fielders. So if he's going to get Garnett, he's either going to put him as but he can't really put him as a first baseman because Aguilar is terrible at first base, which I guess doesn't really stop Yankee from putting terrible first baseman. So I don't really see Ghana being a fit here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I see more so him going after some more pitching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he brought in Infante, Big Stick, Millen, Artak. He brought in a bunch of guys who could start, and then he threw a couple of them in the bullpen, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But he still needs some starting pitching, unless he's going to put Millen in in that fourth spot.
You know, I kind of like Millen. I have to confess, Joel Millen. His stats haven't been his ERA hasn't been the greatest, but his WHIP, man, 1.27, 1 point. This guy can get it done.
He served me well.
Mm-hmm. This guy, no hate for this guy. He'd be a fine fifth, even a number 4. Yeah, I agree. What about Goody?
Francisco. He's solid as well. He's got 3 pitches that are above average. Like the guys he has in here, like Roviva, Sugar Bear, Ben Rafiki, he just doesn't have another guy. So he's got 4, unless he's going to go for a 4-man rotation, he sort of needs another guy unless he's going to bring Millen in there, which he could, and then you're looking at bullpen.
I would have no problem with that. I mean, he's got the bats. He just needs good to decent pitching.
He's also got Regala. So, I mean, he's got starting pitching in his bullpen that maybe he can bump him up.
True.
Then you've got Big Stick, who could easily just be bring him up for a 4th. And then you just need a bullpen guy. But I think the biggest thing was first base was for me. So, I mean, there's not too many options in the free agency. I mean, if he wants to get cheap, he can try to bring... let's just sort by power, since I think that's what he'll end up wanting to do. So there's Chow, but he's not very good defensively. My old buddy Marvin Tompkinson. I mean, he's not terrible. He'll catch the ball decent. He's got a 50 air, but his ratings are always a little bit better than what he is. So
where are you looking at? I don't see Tom. Oh, there he is, Marvin Tompkinson. Yeah, okay.
But in terms of first base might be a little bit of a rough go. One guy I was sort of looking at, even for myself, was now I gotta find him. Was Turgan. He played with Istanbul 2 years ago, and then nobody signed him. So, of course, I can't spell his name right. But anyways, he's an average player. But if you're looking for somebody cheap, it doesn't hurt.
What position does he play?
He'll be a third baseman, but he can also play. He can also play first.
Okay.
And he actually plays first quite well. So, I can't find him. Maybe he retired, and I just didn't see it.
We had a pile of retirees this year. I saw it on the league website, but I couldn't find it in the game. I could only find one retiree in the game, and that was. Let me see if I can pull it up right quick. That was Nobuhiko Tanaka, the pitcher for Australia, retired this offseason.
What's his? Actually, he did retire. Okay, so never mind. There went my sleeper pick for who I was going to get for first base.
Who's that?
That Erturgan. He retired.
Where did you see that?
I just searched for his name.
What's his name? Spell it for me.
Give me 1 sec. I just searched ERT, so now I have to find him again. But in terms of first base, it's sort of tough. I mean, I guess you could just maybe that Harry Burns. He's got good infield ratings, so I guess it probably wouldn't take very long for him to actually learn the position. I mean, his infield rating is infield range 70, air 45, arms 60. So, I mean, 45 is not bad for a first baseman. He could probably do it if, of course, he doesn't have the power that you look for at first base. But I mean, at that, Yankees got so much power that maybe he doesn't need to have the conventional first baseman.
I'll tell you what, OSA likes Harry Burns a lot more than Super Mario 9000 does. So, okay, let's keep this moving on. So basically, the key for Istanbul, you say, is number one is just patience.
Yeah, just
Just let
take a step back,
guys,
let them breathe, and then see. Maybe don't make a trade till half the season, and then don't trade 3/4 of your team.
Right.
So I mean,
tread lightly on the trading front.
Yeah, and maybe invest in some defense sometime. Because I don't think Brunell's actually a real shortstop.
Well, he really can hit, but I agree.
It's sort of like Jose Reyes. He plays shortstop until he can't hit like a shortstop anymore, until it's not less valuable. But it's time to get angry, I suppose, and let's look at Doe's Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Got to put my rage face on. Las Vegas, man. Here's the team. I have trouble figuring out Vegas. I look at them and I think, does this team really have any needs? And I'm not sure they do. This is a fine team. They, it wasn't luck that vaulted them into the North League Championship Series last year. It was, it was a good, well constructed ball club.
Just looking at their player list right now, it doesn't look like they have any outfielders. Well, they've got 3. I don't know how.
Medina and Wilkins, yeah.
Right, and they don't really have anybody in the minors to bring up right now, I don't think.
Well, he's got. Doesn't he have somebody in? Oh shoot! I thought he had somebody out there. I'm not seeing what I was thinking about.
Okay. He's got, I guess, Bland you could bring in, but that's sort of a fourth. That's a replacement level player. So maybe he'll be in play for Gaunt or Stute or Vajorov. I like Vajorov a lot.
Yeah.
He's sort of older, but he still can hit the ball, so maybe that's somebody I might look into.
Yeah. Let me go back, page up. What about Potsy, Oscar Pottinger? He keeps being listed as having tons of power. Do you think he's still got it? He's 35 years old.
Let's just give me one.
He spent a year in Amsterdam, and
the thing is, before his year in Amsterdam, he also didn't hit very well.
That's true. He was on he had one good year in the past 4 years, and that was in 2041. He hit 262, but other than that, he's hit below the Mendoza line.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, his OBP in his last year for Seoul is it's a staggering amount in terms of how much higher it is than his average. So his eye was still pretty good.
Right.
His strikeout numbers were pretty much identical. So it's more so his home runs. Maybe his power's not 75 anymore. So he had 10 less home runs. But I mean, his best days are behind him.
Yeah, true.
I'd still give him a shot because his defensive ability still will win you ball games, and his catcher abilities, pitch framing, and all that stuff. So he'll help your pitching staff out too. So he might become a backup if you have my team's got Corrigan now, Hegorov, and maybe I bring in Pottinger if he's cheap, and sort of have him as the DH type, and then if one of those catchers get injured, then at least I don't have to bring up I have to strictly bring up a catcher.
Yeah, he is. He is asking 1.8 million, so maybe he is cheap. Yeah,
and that might be a cheap guy for Doe, since I remember I always give Doe the stigma of just liking power. Ever since I traded him Porky, it's sort of been one of those things where I just assume he wants power.
Right. Well, he'll probably be a major player for Garnet then.
I could definitely see that happening.
I also wonder, he's got Dermot McHeshy at third base, but McHeshy also plays a mean center field.
That's true. So
I could see McHeshy playing center field, and he's going to pull somebody in, a third baseman. I just don't know who that would be.
Let's just go. I can give you a quick. There is not much for third base in free agency.
Looks like Doodles Farr might be the best.
Yeah, and he had a rough year last
He
year.
did. I think he's gone. I think he's over the hill and far away by now.
It's sort of crazy how you can go from a
Hmm.
4-win season just in the snap of a finger go down.
Yeah.
So he
Hell,
might be a bounce back candidate.
could be if he's cheap. 1.6 million. He might. He had a lousy year last year. He might turn around and have a good one. So I agree. I agree. Well, let's see. Let's move on. Why don't you go ahead and give me a dose of medicine there, Osik? Let's move on to Moscow.
Alrighty. I remember you talking in our discussions before this, how you didn't have much budget,
Hmm.
so we're gonna have to go bargain bin. You're lucky it's Black Friday soon, so let's go bargain bin hunting, I suppose. And
right.
let's just say, so you're gonna need a center fielder to replace Gaunt, or unless you can almost bring Galagos up.
That's in fact I've done that.
Move Robbles to center field.
Hmm.
The problem is with that is it's harder to find a first baseman in the market than it is a center fielder. So if you're wanting to go cheap, well, it depends how cheap you want to go. Because I was looking at, for you, Born Richthofen.
Hmm.
Solid defensive player. It's not going to hurt you. Gets on base. I mean, although 6.5 million is a lot more than you might be willing to pay. So let's see if I
Maybe
can
more
just.
than I can possibly pay. Yeah, I was looking at that. He wants 6 milli. That's a lot of money for that kind of bat. I like the defense. Love that kind of defense. But don't know about that bad man.
All right, let's try to find some more.
I've got a secret Asian man working on getting Garnett back under the table. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's. Oh, you're pulling the OU. If Salazar didn't resign, or not Salazar, I forget who it is now. Give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna sort by demand after this. Another guy. Well, Tomo Serraria did not do very well for Helsinki, so I wouldn't recommend him.
Yeah, I had my eye on him a while back. You know, I think what I'm going to do, I've practiced Gallegos. I designated him at center field this past year.
Okay.
Now, he's only got a 55 range, so he's capped at how good he's going to be in center field. He would need a couple of good corner outfielders around him. Fortunately,
Right.
I have that. And he's got a 45 rating in center field, so I'm going to just stick the kid in center field and see what he does.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So Robos will stay at first?
Or right field, but probably at first for now. Yeah.
Because let me see. I had it sort of figured out. Let's just go to your player, your overview. So you're going to probably keep Constance in left.
Hmm.
So Robos and okay, that's solid. And then your pitching is always good because you like your pitching.
I like my pitching. Hmm.
You've got a lot of stuff guys in as your bullpen, which is solid.
Hmm.
Your catching, you've got Wong. That's all you need.
Hmm.
Your middle infield's gonna be, if it's repeat of last year, it's gonna be atrocious.
Thanks.
Sorry, I gotta keep it real with you. You're gonna need some middle infielders,
Oh, he's going to keep it real.
which may be an issue with the free agency. And I don't know if you have anybody in the system.
Hmm.
I can double check that. Let's see.
Well, I can tell you now, I don't.
I mean, McNiven is going to be whatever.
Hmm. He's my boy. I'm really proud of him. He went from single A ball to triple A in like no time at all. And,
It's because he's 24.
Well, you know. God damn you. So he was going to be my.
He's a good utility, sort of
Yeah.
25th player on the bench for some guys.
Mhm.
It's valuable in a system.
But
Well, you don't want to start that guy
no.
if you don't have to. I mean, Ursoy is not going to help you much in terms of his defense doesn't look bad. Let me just double check
I was thinking to myself, I've been looking and looking at this. And
his
I wonder,
defense is good for second, so you might.
Uh-huh.
I mean, career-wise, it's not going to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
He snuck up above 300 on base percentage.
Mm-hmm.
His average isn't great, but
if I can put him in the bottom of the lineup, if he can get on base,
yep,
that's really all I'm going to ask out of him.
He's going to get a. I wish OTP had pitches faced, so you can see how many pitches per at bat.
Good point.
But
I keep thinking, Duarte. I keep thinking, what is up with Duarte?
Like, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like borscht, which is a crime.
I know. But, well, you know what? I have to confess, I never had borscht. I didn't even know what it was until I took over this team.
Oh, really?
Really?
Oh, it's delicious. You need to know more Ukrainian people.
Well, I should. I know zero Ukrainian. There's some Czechoslovakian people around here, but they don't eat borscht.
Oh, really?
They eat these things called kolaches that are bad for your heart. So.
Lots of Ukrainian folks around here, so I know borscht, pierogies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good soup.
Yeah, so my daughter's been on a paleo kick for a long time, and I got to looking at borscht, and I was like, borscht is like the original paleo, man. It's like meat and veggies.
There's no meat in. Oh yeah, most people don't put meat in it.
Huh? So it's just a vegetable.
It's beet, stew. and then you throw some sour cream in it.
Oh, sour cream. That just sounds weird.
It's delicious.
Well, after you said that today, I went looking, and I found somebody who substituted yogurt for the sour cream.
Probably Greek yogurt, I could see.
Yeah, great, exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
Maybe it was you. Maybe it was you who put that recipe
on
Pinterest. I know that's where you spend your time.
Yeah.
So, Duarte had he had a good year. I say a good year. He had a good enough batting average in 2043. He hit 260.
Yeah.
His OBP was 282, and I can't deal with that.
It's his eye.
You think
his eye's 35 in my scout? So sorry, Mr. Radpants. It's 35-40 OSA. So I mean, that's gonna if you want your guy to have a higher a less shallow average where it's just averages his on base percentage, you need that eye to get up higher.
Okay, so you're saying Duarte's a lost cause?
I would not. I'm not going to predict a bounce back for him.
Yeah.
His bounce back is going to be sort of the same trajectory of his dead cat. So.
Okay.
So it's not going to be.
So
that would be your biggest need.
You heard it here. I need a shortstop.
Yeah.
So people trade me a shortstop.
Maybe Dublin's Skeeter.
Skeeter would be a good fit. Skeeter needs some time. He likes the borscht.
The biggest thing will be if you have cheap enough players for Dublin, because I think there's the way Rad's been talking, they're still going through the potato famine.
Yeah, they are. It's not just any potato; it's a green potato. They had to take all the green in the land for those uniforms.
Yeah, well, it's a nice dye.
Green. Yeah, it's costed a lot of dye.
And
I only have my money's my pitching this year. Now that Trader Garnett left, that Benedict Garnett, all my money. I don't have anybody making over $5.2 million, over $5 million who is not in pitching. So I've got let's make a deal. I know you know what, Duarte would be great in Dublin. Duarte would perform fantastic.
Duarte almost 3.7. He'd be probably affordable for him. The only thing is he's not good.
No, he's not.
So you'd have to attach a piece with him. So
I can't lie, he sucks. So let's wrap up this Northern League cruise with Soul. Let's get on the Soul train here, Osick.
Chugga.
Woo woo! On the Soul train. Is that show still on?
I have no idea, but probably not.
Well, that'd be a crime. It should be.
I think it made a comeback in. Let's see, when I was about in the late 90s, early 2000s, but I don't think it's on anymore.
Well, Dublin, Soul. The Soul train has 7 pitchers on it at the moment, so they're gonna try to pitch shorthanded this year. Looks like they're going with a 3-man starting rotation. Soul is going to be hard to figure because they have dealt some players, they've moved some players, and
Soul is sort of stars and scrubs.
Yeah, I was going to say, as we just discussed, Soul is at the top of the off-season center right now. If you look at the off-season summary by team, they're already plus 4.6 WAR, and they haven't even got anybody yet. How do you get to plus 4.6 without bringing anybody in?
Addition by subtraction.
By subtraction. So a ton of guys, nine players left sold this year, and that instantly improved the team by 4.6 wins.
Yeah.
So Sol's going to have to fill some spots here.
Yeah. Carl has had one. There's no such bad things as 1-year contracts. He's taken that to heart, it seems.
True.
But
true.
I mean, in some of those positions, it's fine. Like bullpen stability. He tried Abel Hernandez there, which was something I was going to do because he was a starting pitcher with good stuff. And then if you convert him to a middle relief, you hope that stuff goes up. And
right.
I mean, let's see. His Ks, he didn't really play too many games. He only was in, well, I guess he was in 53, pitched 59 innings. Lots of home runs. That's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, Sol definitely has the stars and scrubs, just as you put it. The top half of what's left is outstanding. I mean, people like Marisuke Minnesota, man, one of the best shortstops in the league, if not the best.
He is the best, or he was the best last year by.
Oh, and he had his fielding is phenomenal. It's this guy was like 12.4 WAR, 12.4 zone rating at shortstop last year.
Yeah.
Wow, this guy it's like this is the guy who busts the curve for everybody in the exam, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't give you guys A's because this guy just blew the curve for you. And then there's Frederick Carrier, the first baseman. Raul Ant Salazar out in center field. Rex Rowe starting. These guys are fantastic. They just need a supporting cast around them, you know?
Yeah, so, I mean, it depends on his budget, but if he can sort of bring up those other positions of need. Let's see, what did I have?
He needs a catcher. He's got Furzer in single A, but he's a few years away.
Lucky for him, Charles's option did not get picked up. There's a couple guys you can use. Kim still can hit the ball, and he's great in defense. Pottinger, maybe he brings him back for fan service. I mean, that's pretty much what Pottinger is going to do is sell some tickets.
True, that's true. That's what you need if you're trying to get the fans in the seats. Charles, why even look anywhere else? Go straight for him, right?
Right.
Terry Charles. I mean, he's got defense. Well, he doesn't have great catcher ability. He's got a good arm.
Sung-Tae Kim is defied his ratings last year. It seems like like 290 with an OBP of 374 with 514 slugging. Just, I mean, that's a good guy to have. 5.5 might be a little expensive for a guy who's 38, so you might not want to spend that. But
yeah,
for Vicente Marino, who played on False Bay, 1-win player, so average player, but if you have nobody else to use, I guess.
If you have nobody else, you want somebody who's not going to hurt you.
Right. But if I was him, I'd go after Charles. I think that's probably his Moby Dick.
The Great White.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he also needs third base. But as we discussed already, third base is another hard place to it's hard to find a good third baseman.
When I was doing my WAR by position sort of thing, third base was the shallowest position. The average WAR was the smallest.
Across the league.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's tough. Let's see, who did he have as his third base last year? From what I saw, he had Levyshev, which I don't think he has anymore.
Yeah, he's gone.
But third base might be sort of an arms race in averageness where you try to get as somebody who can not cost you.
Kind of like politics.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, on that note, thanks for joining in. We're going to continue our tour down to the South League in just a minute. So thanks for watching.